How's it going, YouTube? Oxy here, and welcome back. So, it finally happened. It was confirmed. The Quake 2 remaster. It's real. It dropped same day on, I believe it was Thursday that it got announced. Of course, first day of Quakecon. And yeah, I mean, I'm beyond excited. Quake 2 is like one of my favorite games of all time. I grew up with the N64 version specifically, but yeah, just so much of a blast. And this isn't a review. I'm playing through it right now. Like, again, just absolutely enjoying it. Awesome game, but I guess it's just one for the few of you out there who, you know, are diehard Quake 1 fans and, you know, never gave it a chance, or you're a younger kid who's never played it. I guess this is my pitch of, like, why you should get it. But if you haven't seen the trailer for it, here it is. But what can I say? I mean, Quake 2, 64 included, is a steal, which I found out later on in life that, of course, being that the PCs at the time were stronger hardware, there was limitations with the N64, right, being a cartridge-style console. Quake 2 64 is a unique experience, like, it's its own campaign. Yeah, but I grew up with this. Again, it's one of the best, I would argue, N64 games, especially 4-player split screen deathmatch. Oh my gosh, so much fun. Like, it was just awesome. Like, you could do teams, like 2v2. Like, seriously, the railgun, like, is awesome. The chain gun was overpowered. Or just picking up the BFG and letting it rip in the room of everybody else. Like, just a blast. Seriously, great game. But yeah, Quake 2 64 is included, as is the main game, which on consoles, of course, it was Quake 4, which I didn't know was a Xbox exclusive. This came out on the 360 and PC, so yeah, it was an Xbox exclusive. It was a launch title for the 360, but it came with the bonus disc, which brings a lot of, like, behind the scenes or extras, if you will. But it also brought a copy of the original Quake 2, the PC version, which was crazy because this was done by NVIDIA. And it was one of the first, if not the very first, 1080p, like, fully HD games on the 360. Because if you remember, when the console came out, it had AV originally. Then, of course, it eventually adopted the HDMI, which has become the standard. But yeah, like, this isn't included on there, which, I mean, is fine. Hey, Phil, though, on the Xbox side, it'd be nice to see it, well, Quake 4 as well, become backwards compatible. That would be cool, because in the new version, right, the remaster that we got, it's all, like, of course, updated. Like, on Series X and PS5, it could go up to 4K, 120 FPS, I've heard. My TV doesn't support 120, so 4K, yes, but not that, so I don't get that full, you know. It still runs great, though. I mean, it's a it came out, what, 97? So you're looking at a 26-year-old game now, right? Or if it was it 98? I'm pretty sure it was 97, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure 97. So like a 26-year-old game, crazy. But yeah, it's all been redone, and they've really done a lot. Of course, yeah, it includes base Quake 2, the both expansions, and a brand new one. Which, of course, this remaster was done by Night Dive Studios and Machine Games, who also did the Quake 1 remaster back in 2021. And just like in that one, Machine Games made an all new episode expansion, if you will, right? Where yeah, in that game it was in Quake 1 it was like something, they always include the word machine. I forget the name of that one. I'm pretty sure this one is the Call of the Machine. This episode completely brand new, and so I will admit I have been spoiled to it, but it's pretty awesome. So I will give a spoiler warning, even though like the story in Quake 2 was always simple, but you've been warned. So in this new episode, they finally, well, Quake Champions did, they tie Quake 1 to Quake 2, right? Like the two timelines are one, because that was always the issue with Quake, right? It had sort of an identity crisis. Quake 1 is a Lovecraft like game we all know and love. Quake 2, of course, was a Strog, right? Sci-fi. Quake 3 was multiplayer only. Quake 4 is the only direct sequel to Quake 2, right? Where it continues the Strog storyline. Enemy Territories, Quake Wars is like a spin-off game, right? And then, of course, Quake Champions is basically like a sequel to Quake 3. Oh, there was Quake Live, but it's just like an updated Quake 3. But yeah, and then, of course, a rumored reboot, which most people are clamoring for to go back to the Lovecraftian style. But being that in that new expansion, they have since connected the Strog to like the Lovecraft stuff, I'm all for it. Again, I'm more nostalgic for the Strog, which I get the complaint of like, hey, they're just generic like sci-fi enemies. I get that, but I do like that idea of like we'll see both, so it honors Quake's legacy. Because to be fair, like 2 out of the 4 mainline like single player games are Strog, right? Well, sorry, Quake 3 wasn't single player, but you get what I mean. Of the mainline numbered games, 2 of them are of the sci-fi stuff. And like, don't get me wrong, I've played Quake 1. I like it. I beat it, But yeah, it's cool to see. Like, I like that. I like that they connected it. So I'm curious if, well, I feel like at this point the reboot has to happen, which just my speculation, we will first hear about it probably at next year's E3 2024. Maybe we get lucky and it's a same year release, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 2025 release. But we first hear about it at next year's E3, even though the event is pretty much dead. But you get it. That summer, always in June, showcases they always do. That's where I expect to see it first. We'll see. But yeah, it's a blast. Seriously, all the content. It's only $10, $9.99. But awesomely enough, which I will admit, it is gonna be hypocritical of me because I have very much like criticized limited run games. I guess, sure, call me butthurt as an Xbox player. They never would support them. It would only be PS4, PS5, and Switch, right? Or PC as well. So Xbox was always excluded. But with Quake 2, they are doing, of course, a physical release. And for the first time, I think ever, maybe, Xbox is included. So you can pick that up. Now for the special edition and like a limited one or the collectors, whatever you want to call them, there's 3 versions. The physical, it's about $35 USD. The middle one, I think they call it the special editions, like $85 US. And the final one, I'll just say limited. I don't know. That one's like 150. To be fair, like the extra stuff is like take it or leave it. But I do think it's cool that they do a physical release. As a collector myself, I will probably pick it up. One of the other two editions, I don't know which one, but wait for an unboxing when that comes out, which you can. It's open pre-order, so there's no limited. It's like as many people that order it within the time frame it's available September up until September 10th. So you have from now till then to, if you want to pick up a physical copy. Xbox were included now, so that's awesome. Hopefully that becomes a regular thing with them. But yeah, I will admit that being an open pre-order is nice. That way it's not limited, right? Or like artificially like, oh, there's only 5,000 copies, and then you can see people trying to resell them for like $100 each because it's rare, right? When you could get it digitally for $10. But the Quake 2 formula, I mean, it's still there. It comes with multiplayer. It's great. I mean, it feels good. If you've played a Quake game, you know how it feels. The weapons, some of the best in gaming, in my opinion. The railgun, one of the earliest. I believe Shadow Warrior was first. In terms of like having a gun called the railgun, or a conventional one. I think System Shock or other games had one first, but it's not what you expect of like a gun, like a sniper, right, that shoots one long distance shot. The Quake 2 railgun is still like an iconic design. That sound, the spiral, just perfection. And then the BFG 10K is a beauty. Of course, Doom has a 9K, so 10K. I love the Super Shotgun, in my opinion, the greatest shotgun in gaming. Seriously, there's like the weight of the weapon. Like when you blast like a Strogg like up close, you could jib like lower enemies in one shot. Or I love the dynamic of the enemy AI where like, so if you shoot from far with any shotgun, right? Like obviously they don't flinch really, they're just taking damage. But if you're up close and they don't get jibbed, like you blast them, so they'll like fly back or like fall over, and then they have to get back up because of the blast. Like I don't know, just little details like that I always loved about the game that you don't see a lot in modern shooters. I would say is like the enemy AI will actively dodge your shots. Night Dive and Machine Games have went in and like updated the AI, so now they'll like sidestep rockets, or I believe the lower enemy grunts will now like kind of dolphin dive away, and like just little touches like that, like keeping the core of what makes the gameplay great, but then adding little things, just modernize it to like, it's like just adding like little extra bits, but it makes it all the more like enjoyable. The new compass feature is great, because I know in some of the more obscure like objectives where you're like, where am I supposed to go, you just point that or turn it on and it'll let you go. Or the fact now that we can actually save quad damages and vulnerabilities, so it's like right bumper is your weapon wheel, but then left bumper is your item wheel, and you can pop them whenever you want. Like that's great, just quality of life changes that are awesome. But one in particular that I thought was cool was the enemy is called the Berserker. Famously, he has the Trespasser, right? Like the audio when he notices a player. In Quake 2, any version, he was always like a pretty garbage enemy, melee only. So it was like, unless there was multiple of them, you were never really going to get hit by them. But apparently there was a cut lunging attack or jump attack for them where they essentially jump and like slam down, and there's like an area of effect. Machine Games, Night Dive, they went in and actually added that into the game. So they went from like one of the worst enemies, least threatening, to now they're like, you get 2 or 3 of them, and like the devs know what they're doing, because it'll be like the level will have like lava, and if you fall, there's no way to get back up, like you're dead. And they'll put like 3 of them, and it's like that jump attack is pretty accurate. Like you're not gonna dodge it, but things like that. That's what I love about this remaster. Like it's things they don't have to do, or like the id vault where we see all the concept art, everything. It's just really cool, you know. It's like if you care, take a look. If you don't, I mean, hey, it's just something extra that's there. But yeah, one of the best remasters ever, and for $10, like again, it's like the price of like a McDonald's meal. Like it's worth it. Yeah, but the one, if you want to call it complaint, which I would argue, we'll have to wait and see. So all the previous Night Dive remasters like Doom 2, Quake 1, well, except Doom 64, that one's also in this boat, where all of those, the other ones I just mentioned, offer add-ons, right? Where there'll be like official releases, like extra, well, for Doom WADs, or for Quake, I guess, just like an expansion, right? And you could download it, add it, and it's like now it's yours. So it's like even more hours of gameplay. Whereas this version does not have that feature, at least at launch. We'll have to wait and see if they ever implement it, because I know people were asking for the PlayStation 1 version of Quake 2, which that in itself is also a unique version. And it's funny because in the id vault, like, you know, in the options, you can see all the enemy types and like all the expansions, everything. And one of them, the Guardian, which there it says like Guardian and then in parentheses console, was only ever in the PlayStation 1 version. It's like a boss enemy, but he's unique to that version. And I'm like, he's included in the list, right, of like enemies, but it's like that version is not playable. So it's like, will it be? We'll see. But again, at launch, that feature is not there. So we'll have to see if they add it or if they don't. But still, so that's one thing. It's like, hey, the others have it, this one doesn't. So it's like an argument you can make. But truthfully, it's for $10. Everything you get, I think, is a steal. And yeah, if you're bored of the AAA first-person shooter scene right now, which I know as hell I am, like, it's just great to have a game that, like, graphics-wise, of course, it's dated, but gameplay is just timeless. That's one thing I love about id Software. In my opinion, they're one of, like, only 2 studios, them and From Software, the Dark Souls makers, where, like, they're the only 2 studios I trust pre-ordering a game. Like, it's like, no matter, like, all I have to see is, like, news of, like, id Software or FromSoft's new game or a trailer, and it's, like, pre-ordered, because I know every single time I'm getting quality. It may not be my cup of tea, like Sekiro, or, like, Rage 2, which I think is underrated. I had a lot of fun with that game. You know, they may not be specific to my liking, but whatever they put out is always quality. Like, they just have that standard that's, like, in this day and age with, like, you know, games focusing on monetization and that sort of thing. It's just nice to see. Like, it's like some, you know, there's studios out there that actually care, that are like, you know, our goal is not to squeeze you out of every penny. It's just to make a damn good game. And Quake 2 is one of those games. So, yeah, that's my pitch. Check it out if you haven't. And if you are enjoying it, let me know what you think. Or what are your criticisms, you know? I love it, but some of you may not, right? It may feel a little too floaty or that sort of thing. So I'm curious to have a discussion in the comments, right? But yeah, guys, Quake 2, let me know if you've checked it out. If you like this type of video, I make videos twice a week. And yeah, if you like the content, please make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that good jazz. And as always, everyone, I've been your host, Oxy. Take care and I'll see you next time.